All right, so let's move to the next topic, which is to build the foundations of AI-ready data. And I think it's important to emphasize here that over the past decades, we have moved from physical records into mainframes, then relational databases, and now into today's era of data, big data, dashboards, and self-service BI. And what we now see emerging is a shift in how users actually start to interact with data through what is now referred to as conversational analytics and data agents. So now instead of using reports and dashboards, people can now start to ask questions directly on top of our data platforms and BI tools, where then the agents are able to find, interpret, and to summarize what this data actually says related to the questions. And while this is still very early, there are a lot of other emerging trends, and we can already see clear progress now on, for instance, autonomous agents and also decision intelligence capabilities, among other trends. And just to take a bit compressed, simplified example, we are here looking at an example where we ask AI to analyze IKEA's product offerings and compare those to ours. So in this case, we can see that the AI agent is able to interpret the question and then to divide the task into two subtasks. One being to scrape the IKEA's website to get the product information, but then also to ensure we are fetching our product information from the right data mart. And based on that, it can then sort of make the comparison, and it can also provide some insights. And of course, this is a very simplified and compressed example. But the key point here is, I think the technology is already a lot more capable than this. And the key point is that it will become a lot more capable going forward. And this, of course, creates a lot of new opportunities, but it also creates risks and exposes gaps in our existing data capabilities. And that is what I think is now the main focus from an AI program perspective. So the question is, how should you then evolve your data readiness for the AI era? Quite a big topic, of course. But I think there are three things that you should now consider in your AI program. The first is you should ensure that capability development gets prioritized by business use cases. And the goal here is, of course, to close the gaps that blocks the most immediate value. And well, this is a quite common thing to say, and it's quite a simple thing to say in theory, but I think in practice, we see many clients, of course, struggling with this, especially at lower levels of maturity, because in the end, you might not have a clear view of where your biggest AI opportunities are, and the real knowledge around new tech capabilities, the data platforms, what data you have, how that can be connected, and the data quality, that type of information, the real knowledge about that typically tends to sit in the heads of a few key people. And those few key people tend also to be quite busy as well. And this makes prioritization very difficult because no one is really seeing the full picture here. But I think this is also where AI, talking about accelerated teamwork and these topics could be quite useful. And I think that companies that have invested more into mapping out the AI opportunities, do process mapping, mapping out the systems, etc., can very likely benefit from having AI to support in identifying and facilitate the discussion for identifying where the biggest bottlenecks and gaps are. Now, secondly, you must make your data products usable at scale. And I will not go deep into the data product topic as such, but the point here is just that we must now both ensure and manage that structured and unstructured data, like documents, are treated as governed assets with clear ownership. And as you mentioned, Tero, that we also ensure that these data products can be consumed by different AI tools using what is now started to be referred to as a semantic layer. So I'm not going to go deep into the semantic layer, but this is what sits in the middle of the data and AI application layer. And that is clearly something that is now becoming a lot more important. And we now start to see all the platforms and vendors start to invest in establishing capabilities for this. And we also have now more clients also starting to build these capabilities internally. So this is evolving to become a lot more important. And if you're interested in getting more information and knowledge on that, I recommend participating in our next crash course. Quite interesting area. Then, thirdly, it's also very critical from a program management standpoint to ensure that we govern how AI accesses data, produces outputs, and takes action. Because, as an example, AI will now start to access data, sometimes on behalf of us as people, and sometimes on behalf of autonomous systems. And of course, now the access rights must be able to reflect that shift. And then finally, it is important to also design for security, privacy, and compliance, and to, of course, establish accountability for AI outputs, decisions, and failure modes. So I think, in essence here, making it important to start to collect these type of feedback loops as well. So in summary, prioritize capability development by business use cases, make data products usable at scale, and govern how AI accesses data, produces outputs, and take action. Simple.
Yeah. Just do it.
What are you waiting for?